everyone, and welcome back to Caitlin's Corner. Today I am sharing some bullet journal trackers that I put together. All of these trackers are unique. Some of them track very specific things, some of them are just general habit trackers, but the first one I'm drawing right now is a spending tracker. I used a circle template to draw the circle. I'll have product links down in the description box below. Anything that I use in today's video you can find there. I love this circle tracer because it makes drawing circles obviously a lot easier. And I kind of just use this to create like a pie chart of where my spending would be going. So a large part of it is going to food, as you can see. I'm also going to be tracking clothing and beauty spending, bills, and any other items that I purchased throughout the month. So this is just an example of something you can do. It is very simple, but still I think visually appealing, which is the combo I like with my spreads. Cute, but functional. As always, I like to add pops of color to my spread, so I'm going in with some Tombos to color coordinate each of the categories of my spending. And that's it for tracker 1. I really loved how this turned out, and I actually decided to include some shots of it filled in, and I did this for all of the bullet journal trackers I'm going to share with you today because I just feel like it's more helpful to see a tracker once it's filled in, because then you can get the full effect of what it'll look like. If you're someone who wants to track your sleeping, then I would assume you probably aren't getting enough sleep. So I really wanted to make this tracker something that would give insight into sleep and not just be something that you'd write down like how many hours you slept that night. So I think the line graph is really great for this situation because obviously with a graph it's easy to see what patterns you have. Maybe you do consistently go to sleep later than you had thought, and that could be a reason why you're waking up later. That's just one possible situation. The chart on the right is for you to write down or try and figure out what those reasonings are for why you might not be getting enough sleep. So if there's a day where you get very little sleep, maybe write down like what you think that might have been due to. Did you have to work late that night, or were you stressed about something, that sort of thing. I also wrote some healthy pro sleeping habits I think are really great to get your brain turned off, and this awesome quote that I found on Google, and I also thought it was only fitting to include a moon doodle as well. Speaking of patterns, I also created this period tracker for all my fellow lady bullet journalers out there. I think tracking your cycle is so great because there's so much information to be gained from tracking your period, whether it's through a bullet journal spread like this one or using an app on your phone. Obviously, you'll have a better idea of when your period will be and how long it'll be, but if you're tracking your symptoms too, I think there's a lot less surprises because you'll know what to expect on each day of your period. A happy period is non-existent. I don't know anyone who's necessarily jumping for joy or through feels when they're on their period. But if you know what's a-coming, then at least it's a little more bearable? Question mark. This next tracker is a bit of a fun one for the months where you don't really want to track too much, maybe one or two things, and want to just, like I said, have fun with it. So what I did was I played around with the idea of incorporating a grid tracker into a Polaroid picture. So these two pictures are of my hydration and meditation trackers. And then for fun, I thought it'd be really cute to add this doodle of a camera as well. Nothing too crazy, but I think it ended up turning out really cute. And if you wanted this not to take up a whole page, you could also incorporate this into another spread. For those of you who may want to track a few more things in your monthly habit tracker, then this one is definitely for you. I started off by creating a cube for each day of the month. I used June as my outline for this, and I drew the cubes in the look of what the month at a glance is. So my first cube started on a Friday and ended on a Saturday. Then in each cube I drew 3 lines so that each cube would have 4 rectangles. My cubes, for those of you who may be wondering, are 2 by 2 in the Leuchtturm 1917 medium dotted notebook. And then I assigned a color to each thing that I wanted to track. So the 4 things I decided to track here was reading, yoga, meditating, and listening to a podcast. And when you fill it in, you've got this really colorful, beautiful tracker. I love how you can also coordinate this to match any monthly theme that you have by just switching up the colors of each habit that you're tracking. Up next is a minimalist mood tracker. This is where you can track how you're feeling and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. I use the colors yellow, green, blue, and gray to represent different emotions varying from happy to not so happy. I loved how this spread turned out, and I think it's great if you're looking for a little bit more inner reflection time in your daily life. One of my most highly requested spreads is an exercise tracker, and I pretty much stick to yoga, but I have been focusing my yoga on different parts of my body, so I thought it would be really great to have a tracker that not only tracks that you're working out, but what you're doing. So you can track cardio, stretching, abs, legs, arms, or whatever else you may be working on. This is a good example of a simple tracker that can become a little bit more intricate and interesting once you start filling it in. I filled in each block, as you can see, with diagonal, horizontal, and vertical lines. I love the result, and on days where I would have a hypothetical rest day, I wrote pause. The last trackers are these weekly habit trackers that can be, put on a page on its own, or you can just integrate this into whatever weekly spread you're doing on a particular week. They almost look like mini skylines or little bar graphs, whatever. I just think they're a neat shape, and each rectangle in each clump represents a day of the week. You fill it in by coloring it in or using your pen to maybe bring back some horizontal, vertical, diagonal lines. Again, an example of, a simple spread that looks just a little bit more interesting once it's put together. And that is all I have for today's bullet journal tracker ideas video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. Let me know in the comments below which tracker was your favorite, and if you end up recreating any of these trackers, please be sure to tag me in your photos on Instagram at Caitlin Marie De Silva. I will see you all very soon with a new video, and until then, bye guys.